It's really raining hard outside right now, so I feel like we're extra cozy today. Thanks for joining me here in the Book Nook. Let's talk about the books that I read in April. April was a little bit of a strange month because I was finishing up reading a lot of the Edgar Award nominees so I could get those videos out. I ended up reading 7 books in April. 3 of those were Edgar Award nominees for Best Debut Novel. Suburban Dicks by Fabian Nicieza, Deer Season by Erin Flanagan, and What Comes After by Joanne Tompkins. I thoroughly enjoyed all 3 of those books. If you want to hear me talk more about them and more about my thoughts on them, I will leave a link in the description below so you can watch the video where I talk about these 3 books, as well as several others that were excellent nominees for the Edgar Awards. I also have a reaction video where I talk about the winners, and boy, was I surprised. So if you want to know more about those 3 books in particular, go check out those videos. There were 4 books that I read that were not related to the Edgar Awards. Some of them were great, some of them were just so-so. I'm gonna talk about one that I really enjoyed first. Chloe Cates is Missing by Mandy McHugh. This cover is not very good. I do like this broken glass on the spine. What's kind of weird about this cover is that this is the hardcover version and the picture on the front is really washed out. There's supposed to be an image of a young woman, and in the ebook, you can see it quite a bit better. So I don't know if it was just like a printing error or something, but kind of a little bit of a bland cover if you ask me. But this book was so intense. It was a edge of your seat thriller, just page after page. I was completely gripped the entire time I was reading this book. This is about a seemingly perfect suburban family who wake up one morning to find their young teenage daughter, I think she's 13 years old, to find her missing. Her bedroom window is open. No one knows where she's gone. No one's heard from her. There's no sign of a struggle, but they can't find her anywhere. And this sets off the book, sets off a mother panicking, a family panicking. We learn pretty early on that this young woman is internet famous, that her mother has been running a very popular blog, a very popular mommy blog about her. She's a small-time internet celebrity, and that definitely plays into the investigation and to the twists and turns that happen in this book. It's clear from the very beginning that something is not quite right with this family, something is not quite right with this girl's disappearance. We also have some past secrets that are threatening the present day drama. This was an edge of your seat domestic suspense, and I couldn't turn the pages fast enough. With almost every chapter, a new twist was revealed, and I was just compelled to keep reading. There were multiple narrators in this book. We got to see the drama from the mother's point of view, from the father's point of view, from the detective who's investigating the missing girl, as well as some diary entries from the missing girl herself. The people in this book all had very questionable morals and made some questionable decisions, but you know I love a complicated character with sharp edges, so it really worked for me. Next up, I want to talk about another mystery novel that had multiple narrators that didn't quite work as well. The premise of the book Nowhere to Hide by Nell Pattinson had me really excited. It seemed to be a story about 7 friends who go on a hike, and one of them is shot in the woods, and then that turns the whole hike into just this horrifying experience of survival and trying to figure out who killed their friend. I was promised friendships, secrets, betrayals, murder, and it just didn't really deliver for me the way I wanted it to. And I think the main issue I had was with the multiple point of view narrators. The story is told from 7 different points of view. We get points of view from every single character who goes on this hike. So instead of just having access to a few characters who knew the biggest secrets, we just saw all the secrets from everybody, and it just really diluted the drama, the tension. It didn't draw out the kind of fear and the kind of dread that I really like to see in mysteries like this one. All of the points of view are first-person narrator as well, so we got a lot of internal monologue, a lot of telling us how the story was going and how these people were feeling, rather than a dramatic active scene. Everything just kind of felt a little awkward and a little clunky because these characters were getting the first-person point of view, but to retain some of the mystery, the author's trying to hold them back from revealing all their secrets, but then it just didn't feel very natural and organic. It cut the tension, it cut the excitement of the book. The foreshadowing just wasn't very good, and I just found myself kind of pulled out of the story every time I had to switch to a new character. So the actual plot was a good one, was one that I was very interested in. It's set in England, set in the UK, and it's on Boxing Day. And this group of 7 people who are like bird watchers decide to go out to this private reserve. No one else is supposed to be out there. It's supposed to be like a private day. The gates are locked. Only these 7 people are going to be out there. They're going to go watch this murmuration of starlings. But there's something weird going on with this group. They're not like old friends that don't go like way back. They're kind of a eclectic group of people, a little mismatched group of people. And I struggled with understanding their connections, why these people would hang out together. They don't seem to like each other very much. There was some weird undercurrent, some tension, some things that we don't get explained to us until much later. And by the time it was explained, like it started to make a little sense, but it just didn't work really well in the beginning. And so it was kind of hard for me to get drawn into the story because I was just kind of like, why are these people even hanging out if they don't like each other's company? And when the bad things start to happen, I didn't understand why they were like helping each other or protective of each other. I mean, I guess there is something to say about like human spirit and you don't want people to get hurt, but it felt a little forced. And of course, when the bad stuff starts happening, they start making really bad decisions, and some of the decisions didn't even make sense, but obviously like the author needed to move the people into different spaces and separate them and up the stakes of the story. Again, I'm going back to the multiple narrator issue here. For a lot of books, I love multiple narrators, but this one just didn't work. Because we were jumping around from head to head, it just kind of left me feeling bleh, and like the story didn't feel very authentic to me. There was a little bit of awkwardness, a little bit unevenness to the story and to the character arcs that just kind of left me wanting more. It had potential, but it didn't work as a compelling, complicated thriller. Now, the award for the most disturbing book I read this month goes to The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Dalila Harris. This book is set in New York City. We are following a young woman. She is a bright, smart, ambitious young Black woman who has been working as an assistant editor at a big New York publishing house. This is like her dream job. She has aspirations to move up in the company, to become an editor and take on books of her own and kind of change the whitewashed publishing world from the inside. She's just really hopeful that she can find some Black authors and publish Black books and just kind of make a difference in this publishing world. But she kind of finds herself stuck at the beginning of the book where her white coworkers are just kind of not great allies. They're not really interested in hearing what our main character has to say and the opinions that she brings to the table. They just kind of want her to be there, be quiet, do her job, do what they say, just kind of like fit in. But she just kind of chafes under that idea. She wants something more for herself, for the book industry, for this publishing company. This book starts out so normal seeming, just like normal world woman with ambition, just kind of trying to buck the system. And then you start to get this unsettled feeling. A new hire comes into the workplace. She is hired as an assistant editor as well. She's hired to work under a different editor, and the first time our main character meets her, she's excited because there's this other Black woman who has been hired to this publishing company, and she thinks, oh great, we can be friends, we can have each other's back, we can really make change happen in this company. But something's not right with this other woman. There are things that she says and does, and you start to get the feeling that something else is going on here, something very strange. And indeed, our main character gets a threatening note telling her to leave this publishing company before someone gets hurt. The tone of this book is just creeping paranoia. Slow burning dread. You know something awful is going to happen. It reminded me a lot of When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. It involved a neighborhood that was being gentrified in New York City, and the way the Black characters experienced fear and paranoia and dread was just so engaging. And it was similar with this book with The Other Black Girl, where you have this kind of gaslighting situation happening and like microaggressions, and our main character wondering if she's overreacting or if there is something really disturbing going on at this publishing house with these people. I really liked The Other Black Girl. I'm not so sure I like the ending. I'm not entirely sure I followed everything that was going on, but I did quite enjoy the journey of this book and watching our main character just try not to lose her mind. And finally, wrapping out the month with some comfort food, I read Homicide Halo by Mia P. Manansala. This is book 2 in the Tita Rosie's kitchen cozy mystery. This book was on my 2022 most anticipated reads. And after kind of a long month for me, I had a lot going on. I was just ready to dive into something familiar and comfortable and cozy. The first book, Arsenic and Adobo, I love to death. This one was a little bit slower for me. So when this book starts, our main character Lila is recovering from some stress and trauma that she experienced in the last book when she encountered a murderer. I enjoyed the realistic aspect of that, how she wasn't just completely ready to bounce back after that traumatic experience. So we have Lila just kind of not feeling quite herself. She and her best friend are trying to open a cafe, the Bruja Cafe, and Lila is feeling a little stuck creatively. She's supposed to be baking some Filipino goodies for this cafe. She can't get out of her own way. She's having trouble deciding what to bake, and she and her friend are kind of fighting a little bit. In addition, she has been roped in to be a judge at a teen beauty pageant that happens every year in this small town. The winners of this pageant get a scholarship to college. Lila is a past winner. And so at the last minute, they have her be a judge in this contest. When she was young, her mother pushed her into this pageant, and she is having some unresolved issues with her mother who is dead. And so there's a lot of emotional tension, a lot of emotional spiraling in this book, but at the same time, it still had a very comforting, cozy feeling. The mystery was a little bit slow. I wasn't very engaged. The stakes didn't feel very high, but I did enjoy spending time with these characters. The descriptions of the food are mwah. Every time I've picked up a Tita Rosie's kitchen mystery, I just am like, give me the food. Someone come make this for me. Can I make it myself? I don't know. Maybe I should try that, but oh my gosh, this food, I'm just drooling the whole time I'm reading. Plus there's a cute little doggy. Lila has a cute little dachshund, and I do enjoy her interactions with her family and her friends. This was a nice comfort read, a good one to snuggle up with under a nice cozy blanket with your fluffy friend and maybe a yummy snack. I would love to know what books you read in April or what books you're looking forward to reading in May. Leave a comment and let me know what you're reading. Now that I'm done reading through the Edgar Award nominees, I'm looking forward to getting back to reading my own shelves and reading on a theme. Though next month my plan is to read the books on my TBR that have the lowest rating on Goodreads, so it could be a terrible reading month. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.